know, if you're going to Santa Barbara or something that's 2 hours, 2.5 hours away, it's the perfect car, especially in California with the water on this side, the mountains on that side. It's just perfect. I mean, it's funny, when this came out, welcome to an episode of Jay Leno's Garage, the car featuring today 1920-21 ReVere, powered by a ReVere-Duesenberg engine. These are extremely rare and on this car. Welcome to an episode of Jay Leno's Garage, once again featuring automotive royalty. It's always special when you get a Ferrari. This is a 2001 Ferrari 550 Barchetta Pininfarina, and they built an engine called the Walking Beam engine. It was 4 cylinders, it was about 5.5 liter. It was called the Walking Beam because, well, it was a cheap alternative to dual overhead cams. What you had was, you know, when I was a kid, that was the most impressionable thing, to see that gear shift lever and all the cutouts, and you know, the fact you're just slam shifting, but it's just fantastic. So I'm anxious to drive this car. 5.5 liter, about 400. They were fairly easy to build, extremely reliable. In fact, in the first 100 races the Duesenberg brothers competed in, only twice did they place lower than 4th place. But they sold beautiful Bissarini a while back, and this is his as well, and he drives his cars and uses them. Doug, come on in. Good to see you again, my friend.
Thanks a lot. Nice to see you.
Hey, thanks for bringing this. This is very cool. And you use this thing, don't you?
I use it a lot. I bought
Richelieu, all kinds of people bought these motors and put them in what they call assembled cars, put together cars. Much like today, you get Brembo brakes, and you get a Tremec transmission, and a Chevy engine, and you build a car.
I want one. I absolutely love it. And I'm glad I bought it with miles, because then I didn't have to worry about driving it. It's a wonderful V12, it's torquey, it's powerful, it's smooth, it's a great combination of old and new. It's really a...
Decided to build a car using the Duesenberg engine, and it was one of those things where you sell more stock than you should, and you take a lot of money, and then you declare bankruptcy and you abscond. In fact, Van Zandt, most motors in Italy are 2 liters or 3 liters, you know, so 5.5, that was impressive. And although 485 horsepower doesn't seem like a lot today, almost 23, 24 years ago, that was an impressive transmission. A lot of aluminum, aluminum doors, aluminum radiator shell. We had to recast that and make it. This was a very fast car back in the day, about 340 cubic inches, just a torque. This is a car from 2015 or 16, you know, it looks contemporary. I like the fact that it doesn't have a wing or any of that kind of nonsense on it. You know, it just sort of looks purposeful. It looks like a high over 100 horsepower, and Model T was 22, so there you go right there. Not a bad looking car either. In fact, Van Zandt, it's too bad he was a crook, because he could have been a pretty successful businessman. He got the famous Cannonball Baker to do
in my life. I think it will only be once. It is cool that it has that frameless windshield, so it's kind of nice, so it didn't have to have all the elements that it would take to put a top on, but it is not a very usable top.
Yeah, in California is the only place you can, I don't think there's more than 4 or 5 of these left. And this engine is extremely rare. Let me show you what we mean by the Walking Beam. I'm gonna open this up here. Show that V12.
You want it? Would you like to do it?
Is it right here?
Yeah, it's right there.
Oh,
yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
perfect. Thanks.
Yeah, still a good-looking motor. You had to come up from the bottom to get anything done. Notice the unusual placement of the exhaust manifold. It comes off the top. We can see that better from the other side. The only thing that is not stock on this car is I put a modern McLeod get to the engine and still see the glory of that V12. And there's real heritage back to the day, actually, back to the 60s with this. Is it basically the same engine block? I don't even know.
I don't think so, no.
Rods in it. I just wanted to make this a bulletproof engine and I could run all day long, because there aren't any. When this block cracks or goes, that's it. You're not going to find another one, although I did find another one that's next door. But other than that, there aren't anymore, put it that way.
12 at the time. So a 365 was the output per cylinder, and they multiplied it by 12, which was 4.4.
Right.
And now for some reason they just multiplied by 10. So this is a 550, which is a 5.5.
Right.
But it was
in 2005. And here's what it looked like. Actually, it didn't look bad, but it had been sitting for probably 50 years when I got it. And it was just pretty far gone. Everything was worn out. Everything was 30 GTC. I don't know why. It's not the most desirable Ferrari, but for me, you know, when you're a 60-year-old kid, that's the one most attainable. Not that you would ever actually attain one, but since it was cheaper than the others, oh, that's the one. You know, makes no sense. Let's go around the other side. Oh, and check out these bullet headlights, which I think are really kind of cool. Those are original too. You know, although it didn't look that bad in the pictures, every surface was dented or chipped or...
So it started as a 550 Maranello, which was the hardtop version. They made about 3,083 of those. And then this was a special edition car at the very end of the run to celebrate Pininfarina's 70th. I think it was launched at the Guggenheim.
Where you'll see, here's a picture of them laid out. And you'll see how they work the valves. Here's that overhead exhaust, which is kind of cool. I'd never seen that in a car before. This is really a racing engine. Stromberg carburetor here.
And it was, I think 444 was not a good luck number in Japan, so they went to 448.
Okay.
And then they built a few prototypes as well. And they're numbered. My car's 399. These are numbered cars.
A guy who could fix us for us, and we got that running, so that turned out okay. But this thing fought us every step of the way. It just sat for a long, long time. Everything was rusted. There were no parts for it. You kind of had to guess what went where. But
few features with that more raked roof line, special speedline wheels.
Yeah.
So a few extra little tweaks.
Well, it's a great looking car. Yeah, look at the hood.
Sure.
Let's see. A lot of what were high performance options, the buffalo wire wheels, which were kind of a racy accessory back in the day. The side mirrors, the twin spares.
Yeah, and all of the 550s are gated, including all of the Barchettas. And then they went to the 575s, and only a few of those were gated.
Yeah.
So it's really nice to have that old school gated 6-speed.
Right. You know, most cars were 3 speeds. This was a 4-speed, 4th being like an overdrive. You only had brakes on the rear wheels, which made it a little dicey. But don't forget, this is the early 20s. I mean, most roads are still dirt roads. So. And it's got a good-sized trunk, doesn't it?
It has a bigger trunk than the coupe.
Right.
Just the way the lines worked, and again, because they don't have to store a convertible top.
Right. Oh, very nice. So you can actually carry stuff in this thing.
I've taken it to Pebble Beach a couple of times.
Going, you know, New York to San Francisco and vice versa, you know, going through dirt roads and rocky mountains, and there was no paved roads. It was pretty amazing. And when he set his 17,000-mile capital.
Right.
Now the badge, was this standard or was this an add-on back in the
I think it was standard in this model.
Right.
You know, this model kind of came fully equipped. The only option was the Fiorano handling package, which my car has, which is a little stiffer spring.
Here you use stuff from Dell and Microsoft. You put a bunch of things together and you make your own automobile. And that's what this was. It had the Duesenberg Rochester engine. It had the Brown and Lippy transmission. Yeah, just all kinds of things like that. So I think the air conditioning in an open car, that's the height of luxury. That's conspicuous consumption. Run the air conditioning. You know.
The nice thing is you sit very low in the car, and it has this high back, so there's really not much wind in the car too. It really insulates you.